Anybody who works with numbers, works in finance, they will tell you before you do anything, the first thing that it comes down to is the budget. How do we save money? How do we make more money? What do we do with the money that we have left over? These are the things that keep the rich wealthy. You know that I worked in corporate America for quite some time, and in that space, I've had an opportunity to learn some really good tools. So let's get into it. Look, y'all, before we get into it, I felt that it was important for me to give y'all this story. A lot of you know that I grew up poor, right? So I grew up in Detroit, Michigan. Shouts out to my mom who raised me as a single parent and did the absolute best job. She did the best that she could as it relates to just really provide me a really good life. When I was younger, I went somewhere with one of my family members, and the family member I'm not gonna name because I don't wanna embarrass him, but so we went to the grocery store, and y'all know how it is for a lot of black folks when you go to the grocery store and you got a young kid with you, and the young kid starts touching everything. And you know, when it came down to paying for something at the register, you know, my family member, they were like, you know, put that down. You know, I don't have no money. And so when we were getting ready to pay for the groceries, now this family member I have been with on several occasions, several times to the grocery store. And this person knew they didn't have no money, but what did they do? They continued to go to the register with the groceries. And back then we didn't have a lot of technology. We had a little bit, but not a lot. And so when it came to paying for things, this person couldn't go and like look on their bank account and see what they had in the bank account. So what we would normally do was make a phone call to check on and see, okay, do I have money in my bank account? Okay, cool. Because, you know, a lot of people who grew up poor, black folk especially, we kind of live life on the edge in regards to, you know, you had just enough to get by, and this is how that person was living. So we got to the checkout, we're about to check out, and as we're checking out, the checkout person is like, well, I ran this card and it didn't work. Family member basically just threw a fit. I mean, acted a fool at the register. And for me, it was so embarrassing. It was something that I have always like thought about as it relates to, you know, you didn't have no money, right? And so why did you go up there? And why did you take me with you up there to try and run and get those groceries when you knew you didn't have no money? I tell that story because I feel like it's important, because it's part of my, it's part of my culture. It's part of my childhood. It's part of things that make me so passionate about economic empowerment. And so when I think about today's discussion, I think about the reasons why it's important for us to be more strategic, to be more savvy about how we manage our personal finances. Anybody who works with numbers, works in finance, they will tell you before you do anything, the first thing that it comes down to is the budget. What's important to mention is we need to sometimes go back to understand when it's important that we make a budget. When you are getting a new job, when you lost a job, when you're changing a job, when you are getting ready to purchase a house. It is basically any time that you're getting ready to make a big decision, a big purchase, or something very important going on in your life. Your budget is gonna change from time to time, meaning costs go up, costs go down. Things that you buy, you may not have the same preferences and tastes. When things get expensive, you may switch things, so you may spend less money here or there. So sometimes it's important to redo a budget. If you guys are enjoying content like this, let me know, and I'll continue to push these types of videos out. Also, if you are looking for me to do courses that really dives into this, but really short bite-sized pieces of information, let me know. For the purpose of this discussion, I want to make this quite simple. I'm going to break this down into a few areas. The first, I want to talk about income. Let's say that I am a nurse. The median salary for a nurse living in Houston, Texas is about $75,000 a year. What is that? If I take $75,000 and I divide that by 12, I've got about $6,300 to work with for the month. That is my income. This is the first thing that you guys need to do. You need to get your monthly income. So notice that your expenses are going to break down into three main areas. It's going to be your essential, your non-essential, and your savings. So When you think about that, we like to do something called a 50-30-20 rule, meaning 50% of your money goes to essential. So we're talking about your car note, we're talking about your house note or your rent, your mortgage. That's your essential things, right? And then we get into thinking about what is our non-essential things. That's basically all those other things that we spend money on. It's non-essential, right? Going on a trip that's not necessary, or say going to the movies, or buying a new wardrobe when necessarily you don't necessarily need it, right? 30% of your income should be going towards that, and then 20% of your income should be going to your savings. As an engineer, when I graduated, people used to tell me, oh, okay, so you're an engineer, okay, cool, so you're supposed to have this type of lifestyle. So the budget did not balance for me. Kind of coming up as a young engineer, I feel like I got a lot of peer pressure of how I was supposed to live versus not sticking to that plan that I just talked to you guys about. Y'all know good and well I could not leave this topic without giving y'all a little bit more context. You understand me? So, example real quick. This is apartments.com, downtown Detroit. Nice area. Notice quite easily you can get a studio apartment. Really bare minimum essentials, $1,300 to $1,700. But let's look at these 2 bedrooms though, because why? It's a little bit bigger, but you know, you want to be kind of flossy. 2 bedrooms, you know, you got electrical vehicle charging stations down there, fitness center, pool. It's got all of the nice amenities, right? That an apartment could have. All right, so closer look at the budget, $75,000 a year, like we talked about. That breaks down to $6,250 per month, as you see. But the rent, we went for the 2 bedroom at $3,000. And you notice everything else is written down: the essential, the non-essential, and the savings. Where I really want you to key in at though is the net income after I pay for all of my expenses. $210 left over. That's my net income at the end of that. Now what I want to draw your attention to is the far right that says actual budget. All I did was took those numbers that's in the blue on the left and put them in categories: essential, non-essential, and savings on the far right. And notice how I have 76%, 10%, and 10% on the actual budget. Notice the essential expenses, they are way out of whack. I've been telling you guys 50-30-20. So that money for that apartment, that's $3,000, it could have been closer to that 50% like I've been telling you about, not 76%. The goal is to have more money left over. And when you have money left over, this is when you can get into other things as it relates to you investing. You can invest more money, you can save more money, you can pay things off, pay down debt. These are the things that keep the rich wealthy. Investing in assets, not necessarily trying to buy so many liabilities or buying things, because those things don't necessarily actually make you money. That part of the discussion is so important because I didn't learn that growing up. And what I learned about being around people who have a ton of money is that they don't always just buy things that don't bring them money back. They start to buy things that will bring them money back. Airbnbs, or investing in rental properties, or investing in, say, like a loan service. Those types of things are going to bring you extra income. Those are the things that are important to continue to help pad your bank account. So next, I feel like it's important to mention about saving. I feel like there should be 2 types of savings buckets. One is going to be your 401k. This should come out of your check automatically. You typically have a 401k match. The best thing to do is for you to at least match up to what their percentage is. It's free money. In terms of the emergency fund, I feel like it's important that you make sure that when it comes to your emergency fund, you are saving up at least 6 months of your expenses. If your expenses are $1,000 per month, you should have at least $6,000 per month saved up. I wasn't saving a lot of money. I wasn't even contributing to a 401k. Over time, I learned that the way that I first started with my finances was not the ideal way. So this is what I continue to tell you guys about. What's important, mostly, again, is lightening your load. Seek wise counsel. It's important. And the main reason why it's important is because people will begin to paint this picture of how you should be living. And when you begin to listen to those people that don't know what they're talking about, it's going to put you in a bad place. That's the discussion for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you found value in this content, be sure to like it. If you think somebody can benefit from this message, please share the message. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out.